James White highlighted a very interesting point back in 2008, that there are many Christians who believe that unbelievers are incapable of telling the truth. This subject he had spoken about in light of the fact that many continually defended Erkin Khanna, despite the fact that he had been exposed, and they refused to acknowledge that Muhammad Khan, a Muslim, had exposed Khanna and pointed out many lies on the part of Khanna and his misrepresentation of Islam and what it teaches, as well as the puffing up of his own testimony, etc. The video can be found in the description below. The point is, just because an unbeliever doesn't have the truth, it doesn't mean they cannot tell the truth. I have witnessed in the past and come across people who dismiss HBO's expose on Reinhard Bonk simply because of their intent to discredit the gospel because of their refutation of Bonk's claims. To clarify, I need to get around the scene of the HBO thing, but putting that aside, what's my point? While the motivation of HBO may be malicious, that doesn't change the fact that Bonk has a tendency to embellish his stories and claim that people are being risen from the dead today. Why should HBO be automatically dismissed in their testimony about Bonk because of their intention to discredit the gospel? The gospel stands regardless of Bonk's claims being confirmed or refuted, and regardless of HBO's intentions. There are rabbinic Jews and Muslims who say and believe true things, and looking at rabbinic Judaism, it is amazing how much truth is found in there mixed with errors and lies. I have read Yisroel Blumenthal's own material, and it astonishes me how much of his writings I can agree with. Do I automatically dismiss his words because he is not a Christian? No. I'm to test them and to see if they stand up to biblical truth. Those who have read my material would be aware that there are conclusions made by rabbinic Jews that I deem solid and lay rooted in biblical parameters, but not every conclusion. Furthermore, if Yisroel Blumenthal, Eli Cohen, or whoever in the rabbinic camps points out someone like Yitzhak Shapiro or any other person is misrepresenting and abusing a particular source, does that mean we should dismiss their points? No, examine their points. While my knowledge of rabbinic sources is relatively small, there is enough in my knowledge to know that rabbinic Judaism would reject a divine Messiah. And it's not just because of Yisroel Blumenthal only. Although his resource, the School of Matthew, is helpful. Of course, I would disagree with the opening prologue that the New Testament should be dropped, but I digress. There was a time I misread Moses Maimonides and said he had identified Isaiah 53:4 as messianic, which I corrected myself on in a video. And if you read the Epistle to Yemen, he doesn't identify it as messianic. If one is going to learn about Judaism or any other religion, go to the actual sources or people who take great care in examining the sources. I do not want to be wrong in any detail I present about Judaism, or any subject for that matter, and will be happy to correct misinformation on this website. The point is, don't assume a person who is an unbeliever is automatically wrong in what they say. Check them out. To go even further on this, if you have looked at my Answering Judaism Facebook page, you may remember that I had linked to a video by the late Christopher Hitchens on Mother Teresa. And needless to say, his assessment of Mother Teresa was not a positive one. In the past, after having a serious think, and of course the writing of an article on which this video is based, partly based, I think I'm justified in sharing the video by Christopher Hitchens, and here's why. As I said, while the motivation behind HBO is to disprove Christianity with their expose on Benny Hinn and Reinhard Bonk being a malicious intent, that doesn't change the fact that what they said about Hinn and Bonk's claims is true, and that their claims of healing are not true. HBO needs repentance for their attack on Jesus, but their assessment of Hinn and Bonk are correct. Again, I only know of HBO's claims because of second-hand hearsay, and in the future I will have to look into what the expose actually says. Lord willing, I'll need to make some comments on it in the future. Also, again, should we dismiss counter-missionaries' points that someone is misrepresenting a source because they are not Christians? No. Likewise, Christopher Hitchens may have had some malicious intention in going after Mother Teresa, considering the fact in one video I have seen his hatred of God is definitely found in what he says. But does that discredit what he said about Mother Teresa, which was a specific subject of his video? Of course not. I am not saying Christopher Hitchens was correct about the Bible and what he says, but why should his testimony about Mother Teresa be dismissed? Simply because he hated God? Unbelievers have some truth. They are not automatically liars just because they are not Christians. Take my point or leave it. Thank you for taking the time to watch.